100 idioms to use in everyday English. Idioms in English phrases and expressions allow you to say something without using common words. For example, if you reveal a secret, you can say, I have spilled the beans. If someone asks you, can you do this work? And you want to respond with, yes, it's very easy for me, you can say, it's a piece of cake for me. In these 100 idioms, there may be many idioms you already know and they may be quite commonplace. But it is good to reveal these idioms because it is good to revise these idioms because sometimes you forget them when it is the right time to use them. So it will be good to watch the complete video to recall almost every possible idiom that you may have to use in day-to-day writing. Among these common idioms, there may also be many idioms that you may have never come across. For example, do you know the meaning of not playing with a full deck, or off one's rocker, or Elvis has left the building, or on the ball? Watch the full video to know the meaning of these and more such idioms. Coming up, 100 idioms that you can use in your day-to-day English writing and speaking. I will tell you the idiom, its meaning, and an example sentence. So here we go. Bite the bullet. Face a difficult situation with courage and determination, especially a situation that cannot be avoided. Example, for 2 months my doctor has been advising that my hurting tooth should be extracted, but I have been avoiding due to fear. But the pain has increased, so I think I will bite the bullet and let him extract the tooth. Throw down the gauntlet. To issue a challenge, often in a bold or confrontational manner. Example, he threw down the gauntlet to his co-workers by betting he could finish the project ahead of schedule. Ride the gravy train. To make easy money or to live off the efforts of others with little effort or risk on one's part. Example, they accused him of riding the gravy train by getting paid a large salary without contributing much to the team. Take the plunge. Decide to do something that may be risky or dangerous. You decide to do it after a long period of hesitation and thinking. Example, after years of thinking about starting her own business, she finally decided to take the plunge and opened her own bakery. Break the ice. To take the initiative and start talking in a gathering where people don't know each other or are not comfortable talking to each other. Or take some action to make people feel more relaxed. Example, before starting the presentation, the manager told a funny story to break the ice and make everyone feel more at ease. Jump the gun. It means to do something before the right time. For example, quickly give an answer to a question that hasn't been asked. Or do something without proper preparation or thinking. Example, she jumped the gun by announcing the project launch date before the team had finalized the plan. Catch the lightning in a bottle. To achieve something incredibly difficult or to succeed in doing something that is rare and almost impossible to do. Example, winning the lottery is a perfect example of catching the lightning in a bottle. It's extremely rare and unexpected. Bend over backwards. To make a great effort to help or please someone, normally going beyond the expected and required. It is mostly used when you are giving in to someone's unfair demands. The teacher bent over backwards to make it easier for students' diverse learning needs and to make sure that everyone had the resources they needed to succeed. Cut the mustard. To meet expectations or to perform satisfactorily. It is often used when someone or something measures up to a certain standard. Example, many thought the new restaurant wouldn't cut the mustard, but it quickly became the most popular spot in town. Hit the nail on the head. To describe or identify something accurately or to get something exactly right. Example, when Sarah suggested that the project's delay was due to a lack of clear communication, she really hit the nail on the head. Cut corners. To do something in the easiest or the cheapest way, often at the cost of quality. You normally cut corners to save time or money. Example, the construction company cut corners by using cheaper materials, which resulted in the bridge collapsing within a year. Play it by ear. To do something without instructions or a guideline. You do something spontaneously or impromptu. Example, since we didn't have a strict plan for our vacation, we decided to play it by ear and visit places randomly. Hit the sack. to go to bed or to go to sleep. Example: after a long day at work, she was exhausted and decided to hit the sack early. Let the cat out of the bag. To reveal a secret accidentally without meaning to reveal it. It is different from spilling the beans in the sense that you do it unintentionally. Example: we were trying to keep the news of our engagement a secret, but John let the cat out of the bag during dinner. Pull someone's leg. To tease or joke with someone by making them believe something not true. Example: I thought he was serious about winning the lottery, but he was just pulling my leg. Throw in the towel. To give up or admit defeat, usually after trying hard to succeed or overcome a challenge. Perhaps it comes from the boxing ring when a boxer admits defeat. Example: after several failed attempts to fix the car, he decided to throw in the towel and call a mechanic. Burn the midnight oil. To stay up late working or studying, often into the early hours of the morning. Example: the students were burning the midnight oil preparing for their final exams. Elbow grease. It means hard physical effort or manual labor. It is often used to describe the effort needed to complete a difficult task, especially one that involves scrubbing and cleaning. Example: cleaning the garage was a tough job, but with some elbow grease, we got it done. Keep your chin up. To stay positive and maintain a cheerful attitude even in difficult and challenging situations. Example: despite the setbacks in his career, he managed to keep his chin up and continue to pursue his goals with determination. Under the weather. To feel ill or unwell. Example: she couldn't come to work today because she is feeling under the weather with a bad cold. In the doghouse. It means being in trouble or out of favor with someone, often due to mistake or a misdeed. It is typically used in context of personal relationships. Example: after forgetting our anniversary, I was definitely in the doghouse with my wife. On the moon. Being extremely happy or delighted. Example: it was over the moon. Being extremely happy or delighted. It's not on the moon. Example: he was over the moon when he received a job offer he had been hoping for. In the same boat. To be in the same difficult situation as someone else. Example: the students felt they were all in the same boat, struggling to understand the complex material before the exams. Keep your powder dry. To be prepared and ready for action. It also means being ready for an unexpected or expected emergency. For example, remaining alert or saving resources. Perhaps this idiom comes from keeping your gunpowder from getting damp or wet so that it can be used when the enemy attacks. Example: although the negotiations were tough, the manager advised his team to keep their powder dry and wait for the best opportunity to make their move. Fly off the handle. To suddenly become very angry or lose one's temper unexpectedly. Example: she tends to fly off the handle whenever she feels criticized, even if it's meant to be constructive. Hold your horses. To slow down, be patient, or wait for a moment before taking action or making a decision. Example: before you decide to buy that expensive gadget, hold your horses and compare prices online first. Kick the bucket. An informal way of saying someone has died. In the olden days, when someone was being executed, they were made to stand on the bucket while the noose was around the neck. So when the bucket was kicked, the person would hang. Example: when the old man finally kicked the bucket, he left behind a large fortune for his family. Hit the books. To study hard or to begin studying seriously. Example: with finals approaching, he decided to hit the books and spend all weekend in the library. Give it a whirl. To try something often for the first time, to see if you like it or to find out if you can do it. Example: she had never tried rock climbing before, but she decided to give it a whirl during her vacation. Barking up the wrong tree. To make a mistake by looking for something in the wrong place or blaming the wrong person. Example: if you think I took your book, you are barking up the wrong tree. I haven't seen it. Breaking the mold. To do something in a new, different, or a unique way that is not following traditional or common methods. Example: the innovative design of the new smartphone broke the mold and set a new standard for the industry. Burn the candle at both ends. To overwork yourself by doing too much, often staying up late and getting up early, which can lead to exhaustion and bad health. Example: she was burning the candle at both ends, trying to juggle her demanding job and night classes, leaving her completely exhausted. Keep your eyes peeled. To stay alert and watchful, often for something specific. Example: when walking through the forest, keep your eyes peeled for wildlife. Go against the grain. To do something differently from what is usual or expected. Example: he went against the grain by becoming an artist when everyone in his family were doctors. Throw caution to the wind. To take a risk and act recklessly without worrying about the potential consequences. Example: she threw caution to the wind and invested all her savings in the new startup, hoping for high returns. Mind your P's and Q's. To be careful about your behavior and manners. To be very precise and accurate in what you are doing. Example: when visiting the client's office, it is important to mind your P's and Q's to make a good impression. Get a grip. To take control of your emotions or behavior, or to start thinking or acting more calmly and sensibly. Example: after panicking about the project deadline, he took a deep breath and told himself to get a grip and start working efficiently. Make a mountain out of a molehill. To make a small problem seem much more significant or serious than it actually is. Example: she made a mountain out of a molehill by getting upset over a small mistake in the report. Off the cuff. Something spontaneous, unplanned, or impromptu. It refers to remarks or actions done without prior preparation. Example: he delivered an off-the-cuff speech that impressed the audience. Steal someone's thunder. To take attention or praise away from someone else. Example: he felt disappointed when his friend stole his thunder by announcing her own good news right after he shared his. Burn your bridges. To destroy relationships or opportunities that you might need in the future, often by acting impulsively or recklessly. Example: he decided to leave the company but didn't want to burn his bridges, so he gave a proper notice and thanked everyone. Jump on the bandwagon. To start doing something because it is popular or everyone else is doing it, often without considering whether it is the best choice. Example: he didn't want to jump on the bandwagon and buy the latest smartphone just because everyone else was getting it. Go out on a limb. To take a risk, to do or say something that is bold and daring, often without assurance of success or support. Example: the sentence went out on a limb with his new theory despite it contradicting widely accepted beliefs in the field. Take it with a grain of salt. To look at something with skepticism or not to take it too seriously because it may not be entirely true or accurate. Example: she took the online reviews with a grain of salt, knowing that people often write them when they are either very happy or very angry. Jump through hoops. To go through a lot of effort or overcome many obstacles to achieve something, often involving complicated or difficult procedures. Example: she had to jump through hoops to get her visa approved, filling out endless forms and attending multiple interviews. On the ball. It means being alert, attentive, and competent. It refers to someone who is quick to understand and respond effectively. Example: if you want to succeed in this fast-paced job, you need to be on the ball. A blessing in disguise. Something that initially seems bad or unfortunate but turns out to have good results or be beneficial in the end. Example: losing his job was a blessing in disguise because it pushed him to start his own successful business. Actions speak louder than words. What people do is more important and shows more about their intentions and feelings than what they say. Example: he keeps promising to help with the project, but actions speak louder than words. He hasn't done anything yet. Back to the drawing board. To start over because the previous attempt was unsuccessful or needs significant changes. Example: after the client rejected a proposal, they had to go back to the drawing board and come up with a new plan. Between a rock and a hard place. Being in a difficult situation where you have to choose between two unpleasant or unfavorable options. No choice is better. Example: she was caught between a rock and a hard place, having to decide whether to take a job she didn't like or stay unemployed. Bite off more than you can chew. To try to do something that is too big or difficult to manage. Example: He bit off more than he could chew by promising to complete the project alone within a week, only to find himself overwhelmed. Call it a day. Stop working or end in activity. Stop working or end an activity for the day, typically because you feel you have done enough or are too tired to continue. Example: even though there was still a lot to do, he felt exhausted and chose to call it a day around 5 pm. The calm before the storm. It is a period of quiet and peacefulness that comes just before a time of great difficulty, trouble, or chaos. Example: the town was serene and peaceful, but residents knew it was just the calm before the storm, with the hurricane predicted to hit later that evening. Or, he enjoyed the calm before the storm, knowing that once the festival started, he would be busy non-stop for 3 days. Every cloud has a silver lining. It means that even in difficult or bad situation, there is always something positive and hopeful that can come out of it. Example: he reminded himself that every cloud has a silver lining when his travel plans were cancelled, as it allowed him to spend more time with his family. Face the music. To confront or deal with the unpleasant consequences of one's actions or decisions. You have done something wrong. Now you face the result. Example: after skipping several classes, he knew he would have to face the music when his parents received his report card. In the heat of the moment, to do or say something without thinking due to some strong emotion or excitement. Example: she made the decision to quit her job in the heat of the moment, but soon realized it wasn't the best choice. It takes two to tango. This is in a context with an activity or work that needs involvement of two persons. It can also be used when both the parties are responsible for a situation or an argument. Example: in a business partnership, it takes two to tango. Success depends on the efforts and cooperation of both partners. Let sleeping dogs lie. To avoid interfering in a situation that is currently causing no problem but may become a problem if you meddle. Example: he knew it was best to let sleeping dogs lie and not confront his co-workers about the minor mistake, as it might create unnecessary tension. Once in a blue moon. It is a situation or something that happens very rarely or infrequently. Example: she visits her hometown once in a blue moon, usually during the holidays or special family events. Put all your eggs in one basket. To risk everything on a single venture, or to rely on one plan without having any alternatives. When stakes are high and you don't have a plan B. Example: investing all his money in one stock seemed risky. He didn't want to put all his eggs in one basket. The tip of the iceberg. It is used to refer to something where what is visible or known is just a small part of a much larger and more complex issue or problem. Example: the complaints we received are only the tip of the iceberg. Many customers are unhappy with our service. Through thick and thin. To remain loyal or supportive no matter what difficulties or challenges arise. Example: she promised to stand by him through thick and thin no matter how tough things got. A dime a dozen. Something that is very common and not particularly valuable or unique. Example: job applicants with basic skills are a dime a dozen, but finding someone with specialized expertise is much harder. Beat around the bush. To avoid getting to the main point or to speak indirectly about a topic instead of addressing indirectly. Example: instead of beating around the bush, he should have just told his boss that he needed a raise. Break a leg. It is a way of wishing someone good luck, especially before they perform on stage or undertake a challenging task. Example: I heard you are presenting your project at the conference. Break a leg. Caught between two stools. To be unable to choose between two options and thus fail to benefit from either, or to find oneself in a situation where one cannot achieve either of two desired outcomes due to indecision. Example: he was caught between two stools, trying to decide whether to take the job offer in a new city or stay close to his family. Cost an arm and a leg. It means that something is very expensive, costs a lot of money. Example: the new smartphone costs an arm and a leg, but he decided to buy it anyway because of its advanced features. Cut to the chase. To get to the point or focus on the most important part of something without wasting time on details or preliminaries. Example: instead of beating around the bush, he cut to the chase and told her that the company couldn't offer her a higher salary. Devil's advocate. It refers to someone who argues or says something that goes against a popular belief or an opinion simply to stimulate debate or present a counter argument. Example: to test the strength of their argument, the professor encouraged a student to take on the role of devil's advocate and challenge the main points. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. It means not to assume that something will happen or expect to get something until it actually happens. The plan may change or something unexpected may happen. Example: they started celebrating their supposed lottery win, but their father warned them not to count their chickens before they hatch until they had the money in hand. Elvis has left the building. It means that a performance or event has ended and there is no more to see or do. It can also mean that a person has finished a part and departed, often signaling that it's time to leave or move on. Example: the comedian's performance was so captivating that the audience didn't want to leave, but when the host said, "Elvis has left the building," they knew it was time to go home. Every dog has its day. It means that everyone will have a moment of success or good fortune at some point in their life, even if it seems unlikely. Example: after years of hard work and little recognition, he finally got promoted, proving that every dog has its day. Take a stab at it. To attempt to try something, often when you are not sure of its outcome. Example: after reading the instructions, he took a stab at assembling the furniture himself. Fit as a fiddle. To be in excellent physical health or condition. Example: even at 70, my grandfather is fit as a fiddle and goes for a jog every morning. The last straw. This idiom comes from the bigger idiom, the straw that broke the camel's back. It means the final problem or setback in a series of problems and setbacks that finally makes someone say that they cannot go on or they lose patience. Example: the constant noise from the construction was annoying, but the last straw was when they started working at 5 am. Get a taste of your own medicine. To experience the same negative treatment that you have been giving to others. Example: after years of being rude to everyone, Mark finally got a taste of his own medicine when his new boss started treating him the same way. Give the benefit of the doubt. To believe in someone's statement or assume the best about them, even if you have doubts or lack complete information. Example: despite the rumors, she decided to give him the benefit of the doubt and trusted his explanation. Get cold feet. To suddenly become nervous or hesitant about a plan or decision, often leading to backing out at the last moment. Example: she was excited about skydiving but got cold feet right before the jump. Leave no stone unturned. To search thoroughly and make every possible effort to achieve something. Example: the detectives promised to leave no stone unturned in their search for the missing child. Bury the hatchet. To make peace and stop arguing or fighting. Example: after years of rivalry, they decided to bury the hatchet. Miss the boat. To miss an opportunity or fail to take advantage of a chance. Miss the bus is also used, but it is not as common as miss the boat. Example: she wanted to apply for the scholarship, but she missed the boat by not submitting her application on time. Not playing with a full deck. It means someone is not thinking clearly or is mentally impaired, often implying that they are acting irrationally or foolishly. Example: she decided not to argue with her neighbor who always seemed he seemed like he wasn't playing with a full deck. Off one's rocker. It means someone is behaving in a crazy or irrational way. When he suggested building a house out of chocolate, everyone thought he was off his rocker. On thin ice. Being in a risky or uncertain situation where there is a high chance of trouble or danger. Spending money recklessly has put their finances on thin ice. After missing several deadlines, she knew she was on thin ice with her boss. Pull out all the stops. To put in your absolute maximum effort using every resource you have to achieve something. The firefighters pulled out all the stops to rescue the family trapped in the burning building. Pull his punches. To hold back on using your full force or strength, either physically or verbally. The idiom originally comes from boxing, where a fighter throws a punch but deliberately weakens it before hitting. Example: during the debate, the politician pulled his punches, fearing he might alienate some voters with his strong opinions. Put the cart before the horse. To do things in the wrong order or to get ahead of oneself by addressing a detail or a step that should come later. Example: planning the wedding venue before even proposing is putting the cart before the horse. Rain on someone's parade. To spoil someone's plans or demand or dampen their enthusiasm. Example: I didn't want to rain on her parade, but I had to tell her the event was cancelled. Read between the lines. To understand the hidden or underlying meaning of something that is not openly stated. She smiled and agreed, but reading between the lines, I knew she wasn't happy with the decision. Saved by the bell. It means being saved from a difficult situation at the last moment, often by an interruption or timely intervention. Example: the meeting was getting tense, but when the power went out, everyone felt saved by the bell. Seeing eye to eye. To agree with someone or to have the same opinion about something. The opposite, which is more common, is not seeing eye to eye. Example: she was relieved when her parents saw eye to eye with her decision to move abroad. Shoot for the stars. To aim for a very high or ambitious goal. Example: he told his children to shoot for the stars, believing they could accomplish anything they set their minds to. Sitting on the fence. To remain neutral or undecided in a situation where a clear stance or decision is expected. Example: his friends urged him to pick a side, but he kept sitting on the fence during the debate. Speak of the devil. This idiom is used when someone you have just been talking about unexpectedly appears. It is not necessarily a negative idiom, but it has a light-hearted or mischievous undertone. Example: we were just talking about Sarah, and speak of the devil, she walked into the room. The ball is in your court. It means that it is now your turn to take action or make a decision. Example: I have given you all the information you need, so now the ball is in your court. Down to the wire. It means something is happening very close to the deadline or at the last possible moment. Example: the game went down to the wire with the winning goal scored in the last minute. Run of the mill. It refers to something that is ordinary, average or unremarkable. It describes something that is not special or unique in any way. Example: the movie was just run of the mill, nothing spectacular. Throw someone under the bus. It means to betray or sacrifice someone for one's own benefit or to avoid blame. Example: when the project failed, he threw his colleague under the bus to save his own job. When pigs fly. This expression is used to indicate that something will never happen or is extremely unlikely. She will apologize to him when pigs fly. She is too stubborn to admit she is wrong. The tail wagging the doll. A situation where a smaller or less important part or individual seems to control the whole part or the entire group of individuals. Example: the assistant's influence over the CEO's decisions was a clear instance of the tail wagging the dog. In the video you have seen some common and some slightly uncommon idioms. I have made an effort to avoid including idioms that may sound difficult and hence you may not be able to use them in your day-to-day writing. I hope you have understood the idioms, their meanings and the sentences that I have used as examples. If you found it useful, please like the video, subscribe to my channel or click the bell icon so that you can get notification whenever I upload a new video. Thanks for watching.